This is Immortal Works Flash Fiction Friday, episode 28, Gnomads by Any Other Name, written by Ryan Decaria, read for you by Angela Wright-Stevens. Gladys had been dealing with her pesky garden gnomes for so long, she almost forgot the general populace didn't believe in the tiny pests. At first their antics were troublesome, but she had been so lonely since Earl died, she knitted them outfits instead of panicking. She hoped they would fit, and left out treats she hoped they would like. Of course, at first, she thought senility had kicked in, but after they continued to fix her stove and her wayward internet connection, she settled into a constant joke of the morning and a little strength in whatever tea or beverage she drank. She hadn't minded the purple streak in her hair. She tolerated the phallic-shaped bushes in the garden, because somehow they were always elephants or puppies when the girls came over. At noon, Gladys escorted 3 lovely ladies from the Red Hat Club around her house to the garden, destroying tiny sand castles with her feet as she stepped, so the ladies wouldn't notice. She had thought to play bridge, but knew the little guys couldn't resist messing with their cards or the laws of probability, whatever they did. Gladys wasn't ungrateful by any means. They had fixed her hip when she'd fallen down the stairs. She wasn't sure how they did it. Magic, she hoped, but there was an incision, and they had knocked her out with some potent gnomish ale they poured into her mouth from a tiny mug. When she woke, she was in her bed and feeling much better, though the cleanup of the vast system of tiny pulleys and ropes they had used to lift her back up the stairs and into bed took almost a week. "Oh, my!" said Bernice, whose wild gray hair stuck out the sides of her red hat in clumps. Her left arm had been useless since her stroke. "Would you look at that?" Gladys gazed upwards. The little bastards had built a life-size statue of Kate Middleton in a wedding dress out of Legos, stolen from the neighborhood kids over the years. "Oh, that. It's quite exquisite," Lola said, her hat covering a bad wig covering her mostly bald head. "Wherever did that come from?" Molly asked, her silver locks as curly as ever. Gladys led the ladies to the picnic table. "I have talented little neighbors," was all she said, and the girls inquired no more about it. "What a lovely spread!" Bernice said. "You've outdone yourself." Gladys examined the table, empty when she had set down the lemonade and paper cups. Instead, she gazed over a chocolate fountain with dippables ranging from strawberries and Oreo cookies to cauliflower and celery sticks. Instead of lemonade, a carafe of a deep auburn brew with a thick head sat near a small tapped keg. Instead of paper plates and cups, she saw fine, no-made glasses and pewter goblets. "It's nothing," Gladys said. She thought, what are the little buggers up to? When the ladies had their plates full and were enjoying their brew, they got to chatting. Molly interrupted. "I have cancer." Condolences and tears interrupted the minute of silence. "The doctor said I have maybe 6 months without chemo. I told him I'd just as soon see him in hell than go through all that." A tear fell down Gladys's cheek. The ladies drank. Soon they were on the verge of loopy, and all 4 of them passed out. When Gladys opened her eyes, the stars were out. She lay on her mattress and pillow, which were out on the lawn. Bernice was sitting on the grass to her right, tossing a little purple ball from one hand to the other. She smiled broadly on both sides of her mouth. Gladys glanced to the right. Lola combed the hair on her head. The finest silvery hair Gladys had ever seen, curled in ringlets. "It's real," Lola said. "Implants for sure, but it's real hair." Gladys turned to Molly, who was gazing at the drip of chocolate threatening to leap off the strawberry she was holding. Gladys got up and sat by her friend. "Do you think I'm fixed?" Molly asked. "I can't imagine leaving Fred alone. He won't know what to do." "I don't know," Gladys said, taking Molly's hand. 6 months later, Molly was laid to rest in the Greendale Cemetery. Fred took it well enough, had already mourned the last few months. Molly had the most amazing flower arrangement anyone had ever seen, delivered anonymously. Bob, the man who ran the flower store in town, couldn't name all the varieties. The gnomes left Gladys a well-stocked pantry of little barrels of ale when the buggers moved on. She wasn't lonely anymore, having girls over every other day for a dizzy afternoon and a good card game. Gladys paid the little guys a visit once, when the ladies went to Fred's home for tea. Discreetly she hung little coats under her chair. Fred was in good spirits and his home in good repair. Lego Kate Middleton smiled down at them from the rose bushes near a bubbling goldfish pond. Thanks for listening. Send your flash fiction story, 500 to 1,500 words, to submissions at immortal-works.com, and it could be the next episode of Immortal Works Flash Fiction Friday.